Welcome to my channel, everyone. I want to do a quick review on the Google Nutrition app now that I've been using it. I started using it basically almost right as soon as it came out. I saw the announcement right around January 5th, which is the day it came out, and I started using it right away. The idea was to try it. I already had the Garmin Connect Plus because I was testing that out already to see what that was like. And I thought, oh, well, this is great. If they've added this and the Garmin Connect Plus is actually a little bit cheaper than the MyFitnessPal app costs, I thought, wow, if I can get everything in Garmin Connect Plus plus nutrition app, now Garmin Connect Plus for me is for sure worth it, and I can stop paying for the MyFitnessPal and actually save a couple bucks. Well, that was like I said, that was January 5th, 2026 when it came out. I was within a few days, within a week for sure, starting to use it. We're now the beginning of August of 2026. So it's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, 7 months that I've been using it. And I'm here to review really all the cons because it's still mostly just cons in comparison to MyFitnessPal. It's not making any headway, and I'm almost worried they're just going to kind of give up on it because it hasn't really improved, and which I don't understand. I mean, it's not a very difficult product. It's a simple database with some information in it, and away you go. So let's just kind of go through it real quick and kind of show you what we got and where it's lacking and stuff. So the very first thing is that I really don't like is the rigidity of the daily timeline. They have a timeline where you put in your food windows for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your snack things don't even show up in here. Maybe when you, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I still have not been able to figure out. Oh, quick ad. What's this? Quick ad. Yeah, I don't know the time of day. Maybe that tracks as because the time of day I picked. Oh, it picks it as a snack. Hey, I just learned something that I didn't know. And mostly because I'm using my mouse on my keyboard instead of on my right on my phone right now because I'm recording this. So who would have thought that picking that line was a button? You mean that's not something people expect. So by picking that line, that puts it in the snack category. I was unaware of that. Okay, that makes this a little less bad, but I still don't like the structured rigidity of the meal windows. But let's go ahead and take a look at those. So settings, your nutrition plan, right? So what your weight is, what your goal weight is, all kinds of different stuff you can put in here, what your calorie goal is. I think it does have stuff in here to tell you where your calorie goal should be based on what your targets are and everything. So it did have all that information, which was pretty good. But I still used an offline planner to get a better idea. And I think I ended up with the numbers pretty close, if I remember correctly. MyFitnessPal does have that, and I think its numbers are pretty close too. So that was all pretty much good. Meal calorie goals. So your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and this is what you want to have for your snacks. That's pretty straightforward and makes perfect sense, right? Then your meal windows. This is the part that I wished you could just turn the meal window off. That's all they need to do. I think having the meal windows makes sense because there's probably people, especially like elite athletes and stuff, have really specific times they want to be eating. But even them, like if their training is different one day than another, then their meal windows might be different from one day to another, So I think it's not flexible enough, So it doesn't stop you from doing what you want to do. You still put in your stuff, but it just doesn't make sense to have the windows. I don't know. To me, they should just go away. And then you have the auto adjust calorie goal, which same thing as they have on MyFitnessPal, but there's one thing that I think MyFitnessPal is a little better about is this here just add any surplus calories you burned based on your workouts. So, if you're using your Garmin watch to track your calories burned on a workout, it adds those calories to the calories you need to eat that day. Now, that's obviously perfectly good for somebody that's trying to maintain weight, and that's really what that's for, but it's not good for somebody who's trying to lose weight, obviously. But what they do have in MyFitnessPal is they have a thing there where they'll actually adjust. So like, I don't know what the formula is, but let's say you burn 900 calories in your workout, they may give you an additional 300 calories for the day. So you're still having a deficit that way. The deficit probably is based on what you're trying to achieve deficit wise is probably the way it's really working. And that's really good. That's a much better system at least, because then your deficit's not so high that your body's breaking down. So that kind of makes sense. They don't seem to have that option in here, at least since I last used it, but I haven't used that since the very beginning. Turned it off almost right away because it wasn't for what I needed. And then of course you got your regional and language information and stuff like that. So that stuff's all pretty good, but like I said, I do not like this rigidity of the windows because I don't eat, especially breakfast. I do not eat at the same time. My breakfast, depending on what my workout is that day. And I might even have something really, really light first thing in the morning. Like I don't want to eat as soon as I get out of bed. I just don't feel like it. So I might just drink like literally some protein powder with water, just to put something in my stomach and give me some fluids at the same time, and then go do my workout. And then I might have my breakfast after that, which might be after 9 o'clock by the time I have my breakfast. It just depends how the day works out for me. Some days I might not do my workout till evening, so I'll eat a normal breakfast, and then lunch I'll eat something else. And I also may not hold these calorie values because of that, which is fine. It doesn't seem to affect anything because your daily calories are correct. But that's all. I mean, it's nice they give you this option to have this stuff for people that want to be that structured, but they should just remove it. If they should be able to shut it off for people like myself who I don't want to be that structured. I just want to make sure I hit my calories, my protein, and everything for the day. So that's it's something it's an annoyance, and I think it would be very easy for them to just give you the option to turn that off and have an open timeline for every day. That would make a lot more sense. Then when I wanted to start creating foods and recipes and all that stuff, I couldn't find out how to do it. I looked everywhere, couldn't find, because there's not a lot of options and buttons in here. And what I found is the only way you can do it is literally to click on this button and add it there. And then what happens, of course, is it gets added to your timeline, and you got to go into your timeline and remove it. It's goofy. It's just clunky. It's clunky, and it's not a good user interface. The search is not real good. So here's a good example. This is one that I noticed one day recently. Is I'm going to type in hash browns. Okay. Oops. Okay. See how it gives you suggestions, which is obviously good. But now you have to either click one of those suggestions or hit enter to actually get the list, which to me is kind of ridiculous. There's no need for that, right? But I also found that I'll get very different results, right? I didn't this time though. That's good. Okay, so that's weird. Sometimes I get different results based on if I put a space or I don't put a space, things like that. And I've had times where I've actually, see, all these have spaces. Okay, so it is different, right? And then this one here, this one does, that one doesn't, that one doesn't. Like, it doesn't know enough to group those together and keep your list pretty consistent, So there's some things like that. It's just not as intelligent, but it's not a big deal. It's still pretty easy to find stuff. That part isn't the end of the world, but it's just not as good as it could be. User interface wise, which isn't Google's strong part, or Garmin. It's not Garmin's strong point. User interface has never been great. So, they've improved a lot, right, directly on their watch faces, but it's not as good as it could be. If I go to my favorites, you see I only have a few things favorite. And the reason being is because I keep reverting back to my MyFitnessPal because I find this takes too long, and it's just not, it's just tedious. And I have a lot of stuff already put into MyFitnessPal, so there's, to be somewhat fair, it's obviously quicker there because I have a lot of recipes and stuff put in. But that's my first issue, is there is no recipe option in there. And that is pretty much a deal breaker for me. In my head, I'm never fully moving to this until they have recipe. And the reason being is I want to be able to put my full recipe in there and say how many servings it's for. And then when I want to use it, I say, okay, I want 1 serving, or maybe that day I want 1.5 servings, or only half a serving, or whatever. I want to be able to put that stuff in. It doesn't give me that option to do that. And getting away with it by using my meals, but same thing. Sometimes my meals, like, I'm not going to eat that amount. I'm going to eat it a little bit different. And so it's hard to do things a little more custom, right? So that's my issue with that. Not having that recipe option is a major issue for me. And then you can obviously build foods and stuff like that. Now, one thing you'll notice when you search for foods, right? So in that case, right, egg whites. Let me try adding Kirkland. Okay, they come in. That's good. Let me try adding President's Choice. They come in. So there is definitely an improvement going on with their database, because I know the President's Choice one for sure. I think the Kirkland one I couldn't find at one time too, but I think eventually I could. But the President's Choice one I don't think I could find before, which is for people that are outside of Canada. That's a Canadian brand from one of the stores, and it's a very popular brand in Canada, and I couldn't find it in here. It's in there now. But what I don't get, you'll notice in those searches, is you don't get anything shown as whether it's been verified or not, which MyFitnessPal has. So a lot of times when I'm using stuff, I'll try to use the verified thing as much as I can. If you take a look at the breakdowns of information and stuff like that, the only thing you get is the macros. You only get fat, protein, and carbs. There is no information for any of the vitamins and minerals also within that product. This is it. Carbs, fat, protein, calories. That's it. So that is a major lacking thing. It should, these pictures, by the way, are put in, these are automatic in there. I like them. They're pretty nice. Make it pretty easy to stand out. But it's missing all the other things that are important in food to know that you had enough potassium and vitamin C and all these kinds of things, and iron and stuff like that for your day. And you can't tell that in this app. And so it's also another deal breaker. This is why I think that this product should not be behind a paywall right now. it should be free for all Garmin users with a note to every Garmin user that it's free until a certain date, right? And whatever that date is, they make a date that it's safe, that they know that they'll have this product much improved. So it's just lacking too many things to be something that you have to pay for. So that's it for in there. And that's like you can create your meals based on searching those kinds of things. So you can search different stuff and then you can create meals. So like I have these really good chicken nuggets I make with the air fryer, and then I'll usually have a side of vegetables with them, with tzatziki and stuff like that, and I can put that all in there. So that's nice. I can create my meal, but still I want to create my recipe, and then I want to create my meal based on those recipes. So when I create a meal, that meal has say one serving or maybe two servings of it, depending what it is, what I'm eating that day, and I'd be able to create a meal based on that. Not having my recipes in there because I want my recipes to have everything. I want my recipes to have all the spices and everything in there so I can get all my vitamin breakdown. It's all missing from here. Every single bit is missing from here. It's just so lacking, and it's not getting any better, and we have to pay for it. That's the problem. If this was free, they get a bit of a pass, but it needs to be showing improvement, and it's not. Definitely not at any real pace. That's for sure. So that's, and then like I was playing with this earlier, and the apple's in there, and I didn't eat an apple today, but I was playing with the foods, and I was trying to work on making some more meals, and it added these to it. So that's something I have to go back later and remove or whatever. Just not as simple as it should be. As simple as that. It does have things you can copy foods and remove foods and move foods and all that stuff. Like you can move your food from breakfast to things. So that's good that stuff is all in there. But it's just heavily lacking. It does have reminders, to remind you to eat your breakfast and lunch and stuff. Big deal. I mean, I guess for some people they might need those reminders, but for me it's just not useful. It does remind you though too to make sure you don't forget to log your stuff. That part's good. Obviously, it's quite useful to have all that. But I'm not impressed. I don't know what else to say. It lacks everything. It lacks too many things that it needs. It needs more. It needs better searching. It needs better. Barcode scanning. Once again, because the database is lacking. There's a lot. I probably scan more things that don't work than do, and and even several things that are very, very common. And then I go MyFitnessPal and scan some stuff. I'm like, this will never be in here. And it'll be in there. And then, of course, if I want to add it if it's not in MyFitnessPal, I can add it to the database, which I can do here too. I can add to the database. But in here, you only have those 3 macros that you can add and the calories. So 4 things that you can add. At least with the MyFitnessPal one, you can add. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can add, which usually the labels on those products don't even show you all that stuff. But at least you can add as much information as you have, which is it's missing. I will say that there is a thing for scanning your plate of food, and I will say that actually works pretty good. Is it as good as my MyFitnessPal one? I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure, because I don't find either one of them are perfect. You know what I mean? Obviously, but like I scanned my oatmeal just out of curiosity to see how close it was, and it wasn't too for what it is, it wasn't too far. I mean, it was off, but it wasn't crazy. It even picked up, I sprinkle cinnamon on my oatmeal, and it even picked up cinnamon, which was really impressive. So that may be something that will be very good in the future, which would be really nice for like going to restaurants and stuff and everything else. But once again, I've been reverting back to the MyFitnessPal. I haven't been using this one all the time. I keep coming back to it to try it, to see if there's new features and if it's any better, but it's just not. And I've kind of reached a point where I'm kind of venting frustration. That's why I'm having this review. So another big issue that I kind of forgot to bring up was you can't have your MyFitnessPal app linked to your Garmin Connect if you want to use the nutrition app in Garmin Connect. It forces you to disconnect the MyFitnessPal. So if you want to use MyFitnessPal, you have to then shut off the nutrition app, I guess, in the Garmin Connect. I haven't tried it yet, but that will mean I won't get to test it while I'm using the MyFitnessPal to see if they improve it down the road. So it's kind of looking like I'm going to have to basically eliminate the Garmin Nutrition app, at least for a while, and maybe one day I'll go back and see if it's better. That's the only thing I can think of. So I hope this review helped you out a little bit, any decisions you want to make and what you're looking to do with this. I just want to be clear, like Garmin's not my issue overall. Like I love their watches. I think they're the best watches on the planet. I think they're the most robust watches. I think the features they have are more rich than anyone else's. I just think there's certain things they could do a lot better, and this is one of them. I think the fact that they're put this behind a paywall is kind of slap in customers' face. It's just not a good product. It's so far from being as good as it needs to be before they start to charge for it, and I'm hoping that they kind of realize that and they either hurry up and make it better, or they get it out of behind that paywall until it's ready for that. I do plan on doing some other reviews on some Garmin watches in the very near future, like different parts of the Garmin watch or in the apps and things like that. So hopefully you'll tune in for those. And so, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. That stuff will really help, and you'll then know when I do put out those new videos. And hit the notification bell that'll notify you when I put out new videos. And also down in the comment box there, like, let me know your thoughts on this app if you've played with it and what you've seen. Have you seen other things missing that I didn't think of? Have you found things that I thought weren't in there? I don't see that being the case because the app's so minimalistic. It's pretty easy to find everything, but maybe I missed something. You never know. And hey, if Garmin's happen to be watching this, go ahead, put a comment in there. Tell us why you don't have this to where it should be, especially if you're charging us for it. Appreciate that. And, I do have faith in them that it will either get better or they'll eliminate it. I don't think they'll keep it if it stays like this because it's not very good, but that's for us to wait and see. And once again, please like, subscribe, comments down below for anything else that you think about or anything else you want to know about within the Garmin space. I have several Garmin things between, I have this watch, obviously. I also have the Garmin InReach device and stuff like that. So any other things that maybe I do have, let me know. And if I have it, I'll be more than happy to review it and, or how-to video or anything like that. Thanks a lot once again for being on here, and appreciate y'all.